Yeah, and then because the business was paying for everybody's housing, everybody got evicted out of their own houses too?
And got their stuff repossessed.
Yeah, and I'm like, was that in the contract? So, the next show that we're going to be talking about is The next show we're going to be talking about is Last Period.
Did you watch this one?
Yes.
You know what? This is very poetic that this comes right after the one you were talking about, because I'm getting a very similar vibe. Just like so much of us. Here we go again. Let's throw in the cliches and just... Do these two... Wait, they're not done by the same people, are they? Because that would be hilarious.
I don't think.
But it'd be like, you know, do these studios get together and be like, hey, what are you doing this season? Well, we're doing this show. You know what? We got one just like that. Let's throw it out there, too. Because, God, it's just... You have the furry little mascot character. You have some, like, little girl who tags along with the main protagonist. You have the protagonist who's about as stereotypical in the characteristics as possible, super hyped, super willing to do everything, super happy, joy. I was just like, oh my god. And then I swear the villains are like Team Rocket. Their freaking villains are the Japanese fantasy version of Team Rocket. That's what it is. I'm just like, why? I thought this might be interesting, and I was like, you know what, sure. When that first episode came out, I'm like, I'll give it a shot. I made a horrible mistake in that regards. I mean, if this is for you, anyone out there, hey, more power to you. This is not in my purview. This is not in my bucket, because, God, I was skipping on this. I'm like, nope, not gonna watch that. Nope. Oh, it's over. Thank God, moving on. You know? It was just so bad. I didn't want to watch any more of it. I thought the characters looked interesting. The animation was at least good, but I struggled with this one so much. I really did. What was your take on this?
I actually liked it. It is very silly. It doesn't take anything serious at all.
But
and
I
there
feel like
are
it
some
wants
like
to.
I can
it
see
tries
some of the
to almost.
Yeah, I can see some of the jokes coming, and every now and then they're like, "Oh no, we're gonna be way sillier." Like, you don't even like, no, you can't out silly us. I'm like,
I didn't want.
Bravo, that was funny. I feel like the synopsis was way more like complicated, but more serious than the show actually is.
Maybe that's what threw me off. I felt like after reading the synopsis, and I think we discussed this one too.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that sounds like it could be interesting. You know, could be fun.
I can't remember. What does their agency do again? Do they like kill monsters?
Yeah, basically.
And there's like 13 agencies, and then like one of the I guess their building ran out of money.
No,
like
I got
their apartment ran out of money, so they got evicted.
Yeah,
and then they're at somebody's house or something. I can't remember where they are now, but
yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, and then because the business was paying for everybody's housing, everybody got evicted out of their own houses too,
and got their stuff repossessed.
Yeah, and I'm like, was that in the contract? It's like everything you buy with your payroll, we get to sell it, and I'm like, that seems a little much.
Then I don't want to be working for this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If the
like,
stuff
do I
buy
give
for
you
me
back
is
the
not
lunch?
mine.
Do I gotta give you back the lunch that I ate this morning with my pay for with my payroll? It was, I don't know. It was super silly.
See, and I think maybe because, I mean, you know me, I love fantasy anime. I love fantasy anime. I love seeing magic. I love seeing monsters, different characters, heroes, stuff like that. But I think this just was too silly for me.
Okay.
We hit that threshold of silliness. And I'm like, just when I would give it another shot, and in my mind, I'm like, all right, let's continue a little bit more, see where this goes, see what happens. Even greater silliness would come out. And I'm like, oh my God. You know? Had they just been silly, I guess, at their home, I'd get that. I'm like, all right, you know, you're home. You're not, nothing serious going on here. You can act whatever you want. No, they're silly freaking everywhere. Making freaking buffoons out of themselves. I'm like...
It's like, that's why y'all ran out of money.
Yeah,
that's why
exactly.
y'all got kicked out of your building.
Exactly. Ain't none of y'all taking this job seriously. But either way, I mean, it's just...
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, I may come back to this one day. It's one of those shows that's like, to me, it's like Slayers. Like, Slayers is a silly show. This is a silly show. Whenever I'm in a...
I think that this is even sillier than Slayers.
Yeah.
This is even sillier.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I would say, I don't know. It's like, if I'm in a mood for some silly anime, there's a few other ones that I would go to before this. This is like at the bottom of the list of silly anime that I would kind of maybe go back to one day.
I'd watch Fooly before I'd watch this one.
Fooly Cooly is actually really, really good, though. I would say there are parts of it that are nonsensical, but it's not silly.
It's a silly anime.
Okay.
I look at this as a silly anime.
Okay, but yeah, if anybody wants a show that doesn't make any sense, you
have no idea why anything's doing what they're doing. They're just doing it.
Okay.